You're looking at the HPYS High Performance Youth Sailing boats. We got 8 of them, and we are here to do our Tier 3 29er pre-checklist. So when you show up to a 29er, Tier 3, by the way, is our Learn to Sail 29er program. We have a Tier 3, Tier 2s are people with some more experience in that, and Tier 1s are those who are going after the Youth Worlds qualifier. But when you start in a 29er program, and you should follow this for as long as you sail, you need to understand all the safety stuff that you got to make sure is all put together correctly. Okay, so first thing you do is your safety equipment check. You check the shroud pins and ringdings, you drain the boat, you check both plugs. Remember, 29ers have 2 plugs, always remember that saying. Then you check the rudder pin and ringding, especially the ringding. Then you check everything else. Then you put the spinnaker up. Then you triple check everything else again. You can rig these boats perfectly. And something's still going. So here you go. This is the pin and ringding system. This is not used by most people, but make sure that the pins and the ringdings are good here, especially good here on both sides. If you have fast pins, the pins that with the ringdings on them that go through the hole that you push through, you got to make sure they're pushed through all the way. They can't be halfway in, because when you put the boat breaker on and you connect your forestay down here, you will, that pin can just pop out. I've been here I've been running 29ers for 24 years, and I've seen everything, and I have seen a mast fall over when the shroud pin was only halfway in. Okay, so the next thing you do is drain the boat. So you go back to the back of the boat and tip the boat up. You especially do this on multi-days of sailing, but you should do it every day. But if you sail on a Saturday, you better be doing this Sunday morning. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a clinic and we get in, you know, we pull the boat up in the coach boat or something. We hear water inside the boat. We pull it up in the coach boat, and the boat's got a bunch of water in it. You can't have a bunch of water in the boat. Okay, so we drain the boat. There was a tiny bit in there. Then you immediately go up and you make sure the bow plug, that's plug number 1, is in. And then you go back and make sure plug number 2 is in on the back of the boat. Okay, there you go. Then you got the rudder pin. This is a real, this rudder pin right here is really important that you double check and make sure that that ringding right there is taped and good and not bent and not going to come out. If this comes out, this bends or this bends, and that makes it really fun to try to put back in on the water when you're capsized. And usually the thing comes out when it's windy too. That makes it even more fun. Okay, then you check everything. You got to go over everything. You got to make sure all these ringdings are good. Make sure, you know, we take a screwdriver and we'll tighten up all these things. Make sure that is good. Make sure your boom bang and all that is good. Make sure the mast step pin is good. The vang, make sure the vang bungee, everything. You have to check everything. You are just making sure you're just going over every single piece of the boat to make sure. That was actually a little bit loose, so I need to tighten that. Check those, check the shroud pins again. Make sure your jib pins are in properly. Those jib track pins. Make sure that you've tied the halyard on right. Make sure the sheets are right. And make sure that all the lines under here, if you've just rigged the boat, you gotta make sure you don't twist the spinnaker halyard here as it goes under the boat. You don't wanna twist that up with the pole line or the jib sheets. So once you've done that, you need to triple check everything. Just always making sure. And you do put your spinnaker up before leaving the dock every day. Okay, sailing gear, you gotta have the right life jacket, trapeze harness, pinny, boots, gloves, wetsuit, spray top, hat, sunglasses, food. You gotta have all that stuff organized, and you cannot get cold. It's way better to be warm than cold. And that brings up the next one, sense of urgency. If I were to take that Club 420 right now and float it out there with sails up and the centerboard and rudder down, it would sit there. It would just drift. I could anchor it there. It would sit there all day maybe, or a week. If I were to take this boat out there with the centerboard and rudder in, no sails up, and I were to push it out there in the water right now, that thing would flip over and turtle. Within 15 seconds, it would be completely turtled. And so what that means is when you're on the water, the boat wants to be capsized. And so when you capsize, it does not want to come back up unless you have a sense of urgency. Every minute you spend capsizing, you are risking your safety and your teammates' safety. Every second you think you're too cold, too tired, or you can't do something is risking the safety of you and your partner. So when we capsize, you got to have a sense of urgency. You have to be on your game at that moment. You got to get on the centerboard and get the thing back up in a smart way. Okay? Slow speed maneuvering, I recommend that for all tier 3s, all what we call greenhorns. Get out here, go out here, very slow speed maneuvering, keeping the boat upright, kind of like a pre-start mode, like you do in the pre-start of a race where you're high and slow, and you're just kind of balancing the boat, and you're doing double tacks, and you're doing little maneuvers. Slow speed maneuvering before going out and ripping it is what I recommend. Get your balance first. The whole goal of HPYS is to teach all 3 tiers how to be the best at stability and balance. You'll find that this is not a roll tacking boat. It's about stability, balance, stable mast, not rocking, keeping the boat on its hull, you know, and so really, really emphasizing that. The last one is depowering. If you flipped more than once or twice, let's say you flipped more than twice, you immediately put the jib halyard on tighter and put the jib sheet on a lower hole on the clew of the jib. You put the Cunningham tighter right away. You put the outhaul a little bit tighter. You put the Vang tighter, and you'll see the bottom of the main get flatter. If you're overpowered, make the bottom very flat. If you're not overpowered, not so much Vang. And then the last one is the centerboard. Raise the centerboard immediately. If you capsize more than twice, you're not keeping the boat upright. You need to put the centerboard up 4 inches, 5 inches maybe. That's about all you'll need to help depower the boat a little bit. So there you go. Check everything first immediately. Make sure you don't have water in your boat. Make sure both plugs, make sure this plug up here is closed. Some people don't even know that's there. And I can't emphasize enough triple checking everything.